Welcome back to Nano Productions. The framework Bootstrap is used a lot when it comes to prototyping. Not even prototyping, sometimes some websites are built with Bootstrap with custom styling besides it. Well, but it wouldn't be cool to understand Bootstrap's boot back core? Well, apparently in this video, we will be creating Bootstrap from scratch. Now, I have looked at the source code of Bootstrap because I couldn't do it without it. But apparently, so what I'm going to be doing in this series is where I'm going to take Bootstrap's code and see if I can change it to a way that's more friendly for us. And our goal is to make everything accessible from variables. So you don't even have to touch like any files, everything from variables. So we're going to try to achieve that goal here. So to get started, all you need is a way to compile a SAS, which we're going to use the .scss file, which is more similar to the way we write CSS. Now there's other files types you could use for SAS, but SCSS seems to be the easiest. Now you could use Visual Studio Code extension called Live SAS Compiler, which I am definitely using. It is running down here. But the way I have folder structured this project is where I have a disk folder and then a SAS folder. Now I did not create the CSS folder. I created the SAS folder. And the reason I did not create a CSS folder because it was created when main.scss was compiled. Now, in order for you to have the exact same settings in mind, I'm just going to go ahead and load up my settings.json. Settings. Just going to do JSON. There, edit and settings.json. Alright, so if I close that, this is the settings you need. As soon as you have the extension, you want to have right here, live SAS compile .settings.format with an array and then a object literal, more of JavaScript words. You want to have the format as compress, and then the extension name as a .min.css, and then a save path to dist/css. It will create the CSS folder for you. All right, and then whenever you compile, it creates this .map folder file. I do not like that, so I just use that as false. I just put it as false. Now, this is the second setting you'll be have to typing on your own, but don't worry, it's just fine. Now you may be wondering, why doesn't the browser understand SCSS? Well, apparently the browser does not understand SCSS. It only understands CSS. For that very reason, we have to use a compiler. Otherwise, why is this video going to be so long? Well, apparently, and SAS does give us a lot of opportunities to use, but to make this video friendly to those who are using more of like CSS, regular CSS, we will not be exploring more of like advanced SCSS properties. So we'll make it sort of user-friendly for those who just want to use plain CSS. Since some people are definitely coding on their phones, and I understand that's kind of difficult, but I'm going to do it in plain CSS to just, like, I'm going to use SAS variables, but you can use CSS variables as well. Now to demonstrate some quick key facts, so I do have a style sheet attached here so I can like view what we're doing. So I have like a recreating Bootstrap H1 and a paragraph with lorem 20. Now, these are 20 words of lorem. Now the reason I have this is just to see the changes as you go. So there's no other reason. Now we will be using SAS partials in this tutorial. Now SAS partials is just a way to have separate files for each of your elements of the Bootstrap theme or like the Bootstrap framework we're about to make. So if you're using regular CSS, you could create separate files for each of them, and well, you could do that. I mean, you can actually share variables across files as well. It's just that you won't get that VS Code pop down. Now, let me just demonstrate how a variable works in SAS versus CSS. So let's do a CSS variable. Now, CSS variables have to be inside something. So we can put it inside the root. And let's just, so is initiated with a double hyphen. Let's just call it the primary-color, colon, and then you define the variables. So I'll say, I don't know, 333. Alright, now that is a SAS variable, apparently, Apple. That's how you write a CSS variable. Now to write an SCSS variable is very simple. Just do a $, primary-color, and then #333. So we are done. Now this video is not, it's sort of, you could use as an introduction video to SAS, but not an introduction video to CSS. For that, you can check out my other tutorials. Alright, so let's just start off. Now, just to make sure everything's working, I'll just do a body, background, red. And it does. So it does live reload. So I do have live server installed for the live reloading right here. So if I, right here, live server, you could use that. It's a free extension. And by the same developer is our LiveSASS compiler. So it's a really nice extension you definitely want to check out. And with the settings I have, it'll be pretty cool. Now, for formatting, I am using Prettier. Now, you could do this on your own. The only main thing you have to do is just turn on save on save, or like format on save is your choice on whatever you want to do. But the main thing is, basically, you can just compile SAS, or if you're using regular CSS, it's just fine. Formatting is another step, but I will be formatting because sometimes I am very picky about how I format stuff. Alright, so let's start. So inside of main.scss, I do not want to create anything right now. Instead, inside this file, instead in my SCSS folder, I'm going to create a new file, _variables.scss. So this is a partial. Now it's going to import this partial inside of main.scss. We're going to do an @import, and inside of quotes, we're just going to write the name of the file, variables. To make sure this file works, we'll just do the same thing with the body background test. And it works. So throughout the tutorial, I will be doing a lot of this background and like stuff that really pops out. Since I did not like doing small changes, as I won't probably know the difference. So like something like big change will immediately pop out. So inside of variables.scss, so we're going to create some color variables. Now I just borrowed these directly from Bootstrap. Well, you could replace these with your own. But since we're kind of making this friendly for yourself to make it really easy to build a Bootstrap website with custom styling, and you can actually edit it, pretty cool. So let's just start with colors. This is a comment. So this is since SAS is a programming language, you have the // comment. Now you could use the traditional CSS comment, no big issue. I can still use it. I'll just say colors. Now you could use that, but the visual code shortcut command / will give you that variable. So it's pretty. I'll be doing that a lot. So let's just do colors, and let's going to start defining a primary variable. Primary dash. So let's do primary, and we'll do #007BFF. All right, and in Visual Studio Code, you know if you type the code right when it comes up with the right color you want. So we want secondary, and we're gonna do 6C757D. All right, that worked. Let's do 6S, which is a sort of a greenish color. #28A745. Now you could easily grab these variables from the description below in the GitHub repository I'll be linking, but I think just copying them down, you might actually memorize these variables. That would be very helpful, since you can actually create multiple versions of Bootstrap through this. And by the way, just building a framework, so this is just like the tutorial based on a framework that's already built. Now you can actually use this exact same process to create an actual new type of framework. So you can actually have a new framework which is used by professionals soon. Who knows? Anything's possible. So for warning, it's sort of like an orange color, so FFC107. Yep, it worked. And for danger, which is a red color, these are used more in alerts, I find, too. DC3545. Right, and then we have so I'm going to do a light color. So I'm just going to put space here. Let's hope the formatter doesn't remove space. But otherwise, I'm going to keep the space here so I can kind of see where my main colors end and where I my like regular variables. So #343A40. Alright, so our colors are defined. Now, let's go to import our fonts. Now, definitely I'm going to have literally a new file, and I'm going to call it _config .scss and import this into main.scss. So this is going to be the top one, because this is where we import stuff. So let's say config. So you want to go to fonts.google.com and we're going to grab the Lato font. So right here. And I want to go and grab the CSS import. Apparently this nothing will give it to me unless I get a larger screen. We can do a CSS import. Right, so now we got that. So inside of config, just paste that. And inside of variables.scss, we're going to say font. So we're going to actually, so we're just going to say that the font family is going to be Lato. And then we'll have sans serif just in case if anything fails. Alright, so we can just go into main dot. So we want to, inside a new folder, we want to, inside a new file, sorry, we're going to call it font underscore font.scss. So inside of here, so let's just do our font family first. So which we're going to actually define it with the HTML element, and we're going to say font family to be our font family. Let's see if anything happens. And let's hope it does, because I do not want to face any trouble. Font family, apparently it's not importing. Oh, because font is not imported into main.scss. Import font. Well, hopefully this solves the issue. Yay, so it did. So now, we also want to have a line height. Now, our line height is also dynamic. So we're going to actually just going to write the variable for now, and then immediately go into our file and add it. So did I make a mistake? Yep, I did. Semicolon. Alright, so we're going to do line-height 1.5. And there we go, it updated. Alright, so now we're going to move on to a font weight variable of 400, a background color of white. Alright, so we have created these mini variables. So inside our font SCSS, we're going to have a body element. Inside of here, we're going to have a font size of font size. And then we're going to have a font weight of font weight. So this is very simple. It's like this. Basically, you're just assigning, like maybe creating a JavaScript constructor, basically. Defining, and then defining again. So it's really, now text align, I did not choose a creative variable. I don't think anyone's going to want fully aligned left page. And then the background dash color, it's going to be in the background dash color. So it's white, but just to make sure that variable actually works, we're just going to change this to red. And we did not get that variable. Let me just copy and paste my stuff. But why is this not working? I define the background color. So variable.sass. Is there an error, possibly? Let me just check. Alright, so after restarting the live Sass, let's do a font size. Oh, font size. Let's just try that again. Alright, change detected. Error, obviously. There's no font size variable. So we go back, we define the font size variable again. Do one more. Let's hope it works. And it works. Yay! So apparently that was just a quick issue, probably that could have been solved. So sometimes just restarting something will actually fix the issue. Alright, so we're going to go back to our font.css. And we have defined our background, everything. So let me just go back to our background. Or place it back to white. Alright, so now we're going to work with our headings. So our H1, H2, H3, H4, H5. H6, they're all going to get a margin dash top of 0. So we're going to have no margin top. And then a margin dash bottom of 0.5 rem. Alright. And that was going to hopefully not disturb me. So, see that. Alright, now we're going to do our paragraph is going to get that. So this, I'm not going to keep dynamic. Yeah, I don't think anyone is going to actually refer to this as you can probably easily find inside a font folder. So our margin top, once again, is going to be 0. And our margin dash bottom is going to be 1 rem. So, once again. Alright. So we're going to look at the address element. And we're going to probably stop here. So we're going to do a margin dash bottom. Oops. Now comments are really good for you. But sometimes I like to declare comments as the CSS directive. We're going to say font style, normal. And we're going to do a line height from a line height variable. Alright. And we have made a mistake. I literally wrote this inside of variables at SCSS. So we're just going to copy it out from here. It's from variables to font.scss. Still the same results, just that it's in a different file. Right now, if you were doing CSS, you might want to have underscore, but you want to have SCSS. You will have directly CSS. Now, just to check out these nice headings, we'll head back to index.html, and we're going to create a div. Inside H2, I'll just have lorem2, lorem ipsum. Copy that down. Make this H3, H4. I just want to test that out to see how it worked. Because this worked really well, we're going to be really nice. Otherwise, I don't know what to call our energy for the last couple minutes. Alright, so this actually did work. Looks very nice. So we will actually be creating like a sort of, I don't like a cheat sheet for this type of Bootstrap that we're creating. So we will have something like this to define it. But at the moment, I think this is enough. This code will be on GitHub. So I don't think you can just copy some of the variables from there if you need it. And it will, so basically what I'm deciding is that I'm going to do this step by step. So as every video gets uploaded, the GitHub framework is also going to get uploaded. So if you're watching this on time, so when this was uploaded, the GitHub will be on content time. So I don't think you should have any trouble. So now here are some tips for those of you who are using CSS. And that would be that just to try to switch to Sass, because having multiple CSS files means that every time, let's just say you want to load an H1 element, you're just sending a request back to a server or your hosting saying that give me that file. Now loading many files is not very convenient. So, but what this does is that if we actually check out our disk folder inside of CSS, go to main.css, here's all styling. So it actually just created a one-line file. This actually made a one-line file. Everything's compressed. So you will be able to see, like, this is so less code. Which is this one file, it's just going through, literally. So all your hoster or server has to do is just load that one file and you're good to go. Now once again, review for our CSS variable people. CSS variables are double hyphen, and we'll just say call it test. And then, so first of all, you gotta define inside something. So root is the most popular. So we'll just call it color. We'll set it to red. And that's how it literally works. Very similar. If I do color, red. So that should be the end for today's video.